Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nella and my channel is a lifestyle channel, and today I'm doing a video which I've gotten a lot of questions about in varying different ways, which is how to balance life. If you don't know me, this is your first time watching me, I am a doctor. I studied for 6 years medicine, and during my 6 years of medicine I also started and grew this YouTube channel. I ran a business and I also got married and lived abroad, and also started a ministry called Biomedical Sciences. So I had a lot of things going on in the 6 years of studying, and a lot of people always ask me how I managed to balance it all and how to prioritize, for example, your faith when you've got your academics that are really quite heavy and quite demanding, or to prioritize your hobbies or whatever it is, how to juggle it all. And I'm going to try to tackle that question in this video. So if this sounds like something that will be really helpful for you, then please keep watching. Okay, so the first thing that I would say is about prioritizing, and also realizing that life is seasonal, and there's a season and a time for each thing. So instead of trying to make your life look the same throughout the whole time, realize that things can be prioritized in different seasons of your life. For example, there was a season at the beginning of my medical school where I prioritized more my relationship, and that was just because for my circumstance the first 2 years of medical school were a lot easier for me for different reasons. I had a lot of exemptions because I'd already done a degree before and all that stuff, so that allowed me a leeway to prioritize really my relationship, which was a long distance relationship at the time, to kind of to get us into kind of like a flow. So that was the season that I needed to prioritize that, and then the 2 years after that I really prioritized more my studies, and then during that is when my YouTube channel started, and I managed to also prioritize. There was a season I prioritized more my YouTube channel because I managed to look at my life as a whole and to see, okay, what can I draw back on and what can I push on, and not trying to go 100% on everything. We'll go into detail on that in a minute, but just the idea that prioritizing but also being seasonal with your life. What is the most important thing in your life at that time? Prioritize that, make that number one, and then put everything else around that. For me, and then there's some things that are always a priority no matter what season of your life you're in. So for example, your faith, for a lot of you, and that was for me. So for me, my faith has always been a priority. So I make sure that every single day I do my devotional hour. I make sure that I'm spending time with God every single day, because that's something that's never going to shift. That's always going to be a priority. So there's some things that are not seasonal and they're just constant. But even in those things that are constant, each season can look different. So for example, even though my faith is my priority, sometimes prioritizing my faith just means I'm praying every day, just means I'm spending 10 minutes with God every day. It means that I'm making sure I'm going to church every week. Or in some seasons it looks like I'm starting a ministry and I'm really putting in like 10-hour days and making content for my ministry, because at that point I could put more energy into that. So you see what I mean? Like, it's seasonal and it can change and you can ebb and flow, and that's okay. So if you want to juggle a lot of things in your life, prioritize and realize it's seasonal. Okay, so one of the things I hear from a lot of people is, I just don't have the time. Like, I wish I could do this and this, but I just don't have the time. So I'm going to challenge you right now, and I'm going to do it with you, right? And for the most of us, for some people this is not going to apply, but for those of us that it does apply, do this with me. Get your phone, please. I'll wait while you get your phone, if you're not already on your phone and multitasking right now and being on your phone and watching YouTube at the same time. But get your phone, right? Okay, and then whatever phone you have, just go to your settings. And I just want us to look at our screen times just for a second, right? I just want us to look at our screen times and see what that's saying. So mine is embarrassingly high. I don't know where this happened, because yesterday it was not telling me that, but it's telling me that my daily average on my phone, bearing in mind this is partly my job as well, but it doesn't matter. My daily average on my phone, on my screen, is 6 hours. That's what it says right now. I don't know how it got that high, to be honest, because it's usually 2 hours, but whatever. Honestly. And it's not like it's 3 hours on my phone and I'm doing 2 hours of Bible time, It's telling me that I'm using 1 hour on Instagram, 1 hour on YouTube, and then the rest are just kind of like broken down. So what is yours saying? I actually would love to know. Please comment down below what your screen time is and what app you spend the most on. Most of us are going to have this. Most of us are going to spend our time on social media. So you cannot tell me you do not have time to prioritize and do other things if you're spending 2 hours a day on social media. That means that's 2 hours you could be putting into something else. That's 2 hours you could be putting into your side hustle. That's 2 hours you could be putting into cultivating your relationships. That's 2 hours you could be putting into your studies. That's 2 hours you could be putting into self-care. That is basically time that is wasted. If you're not doing Instagram as a job, you're just basically watching other people make money. That's facts. I'm sorry that I'm gonna have to say it, but I've just said it. So you go yourself and you do other things with that 2 hours. So that's what I was gonna say. Just have a reality check with yourself. Do you actually not have time? Or are you just using that time doing other things that you're probably addicted to, like social media? And I'm talking to myself too, trust me, because as you can see, I spend a lot of time on social media. Regardless of whether or not it's my job, I am not on social media doing research. Most of the time I'm watching YouTube videos and other people on Instagram. So I'm right there with you. So just do that reality check for yourself, and then that extra hours that you might be missing out on in a day, put it to somewhere else, even if it just means sleeping, resting. Whatever else, something that is more productive than just scrolling on your phone. So that is the second thing. Okay, so a more practical way of balancing your life is to schedule and be consistent. So I will always harp on about this. I said this in my last video a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about the reset routine, but the idea of organizing your life. So if you've got a lot of things going on in your life, even if you're only juggling 2 or 3 things, maybe you've got a hobby, you've got your academics, and you've got your faith that you think you have to juggle, right? Like actually have a schedule. So that looks like you're scheduling in your prayer time, your meditation time, your devotional time. You're scheduling that in your day. You're scheduling in your study time, so you have a study timetable and you're making sure that you're organized in that way. And then maybe you're scheduling in your hobby time. So how many hours do you want to spend a week doing your hobbies? Even if it's just 1 hour, like I said, you do have the time, I promise. Just be reasonable with your schedule and just be reasonable with your time and be selfish with your time. We're going to go to talk about that in a minute, but just try to be as organized as you can. There's loads of different ways to be organized. There is loads of different apps, loads of different methods. Find what works best for you. I could tell you what works best for me. I've already shared it a lot of the times, whether it's Notion, whether it's my planners, whether it's my loads of apps that I use for timetabling or for scheduling or for just time management in general. I mean, I've got plenty of videos on time management that you can watch here. But apart from that, just learn to manage your time well, to schedule in what is your priorities in each season, and then making sure that you actually do what it is that you put in your schedule. So let me tell you a story. When I was in my 3rd year of medical school, I was like an average student, right? I was an average student, and I remember winning this, it was called YouTube Next Up, and I had to get a week off so I could go to London, spend a week in London. Bear in mind I was studying abroad in Lithuania, so I had to spend a week and go to London, and I had to take a week off of medical school, which if you're in medical school or in any really rigorous course, you know that that's a lot of time to take off, right? But I really thought about it. I sat there and I thought, you know what? I'm okay being average. In that season, I was like, I'm fine being average, like in this season of my life. Yet sometimes you have to almost be okay. It's a thing that I've mentioned before, I think on my Instagram, with being a jack of all trades and a master of none. For people to master something, you know, like that whole 10,000 hour rule, you have to spend a lot of time on something. The Usain Bolt, for example, he's Usain Bolt because he probably spends all his time training, or he did when he was running. He spent all his time training and all his time focusing on his diet and his techniques and watching his videos and seeing what he can improve. And he had to, because he had to be the master. For him to be the master, he had to spend all his energy on that thing. If you are committed, which I'm guessing you are if you're watching this video, to doing other things with your time, if you want to juggle a few things, realize that you might be average at these things in order for you to do them all. So for example, I might not build a multi-million subscriber YouTube channel because my focus is not all on YouTube, and that just might not happen unless I have some, you know, random viral video that happens. But because I'm not spending every single day, you know, perfecting this craft of YouTube, I might not be the top student in my class. Why? Because I'm not spending all of my time studying. So if you want to juggle a lot of things in your life, be okay with being average. That's just honestly the truth. There are some people out there, I think, I don't know, if you know someone, please comment them down below that you think excels at everything that they do at every stage. Like I said before, there could be seasons that you're excelling in school and you are mediocre at everything else. There could be seasons that you're excelling in this one thing because you're focused more on that thing. But in general, the idea of mediocre, being a jack of all trades and a master of none, is something that you have to be okay with. Which goes back to my first point, which was about seasons. There's seasons when if I'm focusing on everything, I'm going to be average at everything. But there were seasons where, like for example, my last 2 years of medical school, I decided to focus more on medical school, hence why I was getting really high grades, and then I allowed everything else to kind of go down a little bit. So that kind of leads me on to the next point as well. And the next point is that just learn to sacrifice and pick your battles. It kind of goes with the whole seasons thing that I was talking about. Sacrifice, pick your battles, know what's worth it at each time in each season, and then just focus on that, and you will be able to juggle a lot of things and find balance, as they call it, which I just call seasonal prioritizing. But yeah, I hope that helps. So yeah guys, that is my practical tips, or my experience in being able to balance my life and do everything I want to do. I know sometimes a lot of us, we're so bogged down because we maybe compare ourselves and see this person doing so well and this, or you feel overwhelmed because you feel like, how am I supposed to do this and that? And to be honest with you, it's okay. It's like, what's the thing I saw? We are so used to social media, or like just the media in general, has made us think that excellence or extraordinary is normal. So we see extraordinary all the time. People who you're watching on Instagram for the most time, especially if they're influencers or whatever, they're showing you the extraordinary all the time. They're showing you the best holiday that they've been on, and their kids looking perfect, and their studies doing amazing, and their holidays doing this and that. Everyone only shares the extraordinary. So all you're bombarded with every single day is extraordinary, and then that's made to look normal because that's all you're seeing every day. So you get overwhelmed because you think, oh my goodness, I could never be that. I could never do 6 different things because I'm even overwhelmed with just my university or just my this, and I can't be like Nella Grace and do my devotional every day and also study and do this YouTube channel. I can't even be like me, girl. I can't even be like me on Instagram, like what you're seeing, because it's not reality. It's not consistent reality. For some people it is, and I'm not going to trump that. Some people it is, but for the most people it's not. So know that that is just the reality of life. Your life is not abnormal. What you're experiencing is normal. That's what most people are experiencing. And it's okay for you to feel like you're out of balance sometimes, or you can't juggle everything and it's really hard and you feel overwhelmed and you feel stressed. That's normal in the sense that most people go through it, but there are ways of getting through it, which is some of the tips that I've shared. That's what's helped me in order for me to balance my life, and I hope that it was really helpful. If you have any other tips that you want to share with my audience or with others, your friends here on YouTube, then comment them down below because I'd love to know. Otherwise guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you tuning into my video. If it was helpful, then please give it a thumbs up, and if you've made it this far and you're not subscribed, if that button down there is still red, then please click it so that it turns grey and you can be part of this family, and also you can get more videos like this, and make sure that your post notifications are on as well if you're already subscribed, so that you don't miss videos on the feed. Thank you so much for watching guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video.